Hey, you crazy cats! 42's live streams and videos are simply not available on vinyl. You will have to go to the YouTubes for that. So if you want content about British traditions and culture, cutting edge social commentary from an unapologetically patriotic perspective, along with a side order of madness you simply will not find anywhere else, then this is the place for you. And to all those early adapters in the chat, don't forget to hit the notification bell. That's how you get the good stuff and make sure you never miss a tasty treat. So with that being said and done, squeeze yourself in. Let's get into it. You know you want to. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide and time zones are indeed still a thing. Had a little bit of a glitch there. Sorry about that, people, but we'll have to live and learn. Now, can't I get an audio check in the chat and I'll say some hellos. Emma's first in with a very valid point. This isn't Ask Me Anything. However, we shall not be talking about mud floods, flat earth, or how many pizzas it takes to, how many ovens it takes to bake a very large amount of pizzas. None of those questions, please. But everything else is up for grabs. Pat is in. Maximilius. Jack London, what about you, chum? Pat is in. Willie's in. Basta, I say hello. Steve Cray, what about your brother? Rory Herbert, evening, sir. I've seen you sent me an email, but I haven't looked at the contents. Julie's in. Jack London, Packer, Steve Cray. Paris Lagoon, welcome aboard. Yes, Dave's Waffle House. Almost anything. Ask me almost anything. Well, I've got Dave's up on the screen here. Whenever Dave gets his house sale all sorted out, he is going to be coming on to talk about the Strawburst Festival. So that's coming up. That's going to be good. Ugly Truth, Sam, what about you? Anglo-Saxon. All good. And the audio's good. So let the madness commence. I'm going to do some housekeeping. I have a couple of shout outs today. Tomorrow evening, I believe at 8 o'clock, but Jack can keep me right if I'm wrong. Jack and Rags have got Bonnie Lad News on. 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. Jack just confirmed that time for his place. That'll be good. There's a Reverend Simonson. What about you, Sean? Glad to see you here. Yes, on the back of the last week's one where you come in, I had 1,200 and lots views, which is way more than expected. So thank you very much for that. I was wrong. Yes, House of Babushka that you may know from the Waffle House or John Davison stream is on with Jack and Rags. We've got that on Monday night. Oh, thanks, mate. On Monday night, Sansom and Toffee are going live. They've got a Raw with Toffee. It's going to be on Sansom Communion's channel. So look out for that Monday night. It seems that Sansom's been busy weekends lately. So there's that. The other thing is, right, the Waffle House, 8:30 every night, every weeknight during the week. Nice chilled out stream where we just banter with people. and the obscure chance that anybody's not sub the Reverend Simon that's in here at the minute, get over that. And the other thing is, I'm going to put a link in the stream tomorrow evening, 10:30 p.m. GMT. I am being interviewed by a channel lady from Australia. Courage is a Cure, does a lot of stuff about lockdown protests, about how the world's generally going mad. So she's been mad enough to have me on for an interview. So there's that. You can sub to her channel. I'm not sure exactly what it's going like, because she's got YouTube, she's got Rumble, she's very big on Facebook, so I'm not sure exactly which platform that's going out on. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a link in the chat. It's a call-in and it's a Ask Me Anything. So anybody wants to come in for a chat, please do. Julie Parker's arrived. Glenn Smith's arrived in. Glenn Smith was in the Rev Rat last week. I was what I will say. Jack London, what about you, Sean?
Hello, brother. How you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yep, all good. Sounds good. How's yourself?
I'm not too bad, mate.
So you've got House of Babushka on tomorrow night?
Bullshit.
What?
Look, let me pause that.
Oh, right.
Yeah, no, I stopped that. I had the stream going on in the background. Sorry, mate.
All right. So you were getting the double echo?
Yeah, the loop of infinity. So how have you been, my friend?
I've been good, chum. I've been good.
Oh, who's that? Is that John?
No, that is Rory has just jumped in.
Hello, guys. Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Excellent.
So how's yourself, Rory?
Yeah, not so bad, 40. You know, we do what we can do. There was a little topic I wanted to bring up, actually, which is why I sent you the email, which I thought was quite interesting. We don't have to discuss it right now.
Oh,
if you don't want to, you carry on, 42. Carry on with what you were saying.
Give us the broad strokes. What because that actually is quite important. What protest laws are they changing?
Right. If you got my email,
yeah.
Can you? It's about face coverings and pyrotechnics, but it's a little bit more serious than that. Well, I mean, some of it's good, some of it is bad. But if there's any chance you could bring that up on the stream, then maybe we could read through it and discuss it.
Right.
It's a web address. It's a government. It's from the government. You know, so this is like what they do.
Yeah. New protest laws.
It was quite interesting to read through. There you've got it. There we've got it. No?
Right. New protest laws on face coverings and pyrotechnics.
Oh, I haven't done that. I might do. Can't see anything.
Right.
Do you want to read through this 42 or
right? Yes. Give us a second.
Yeah, you read through it and let's discuss it. That sounds good.
Hold on, I'm trying to find the right. That's the one I'm on. I wanted to zoom it in a bit.
It's something that came out over the last couple of days. Well, it says published 8th of February by the government. So, police
will be given powers to arrest protesters who wear face coverings to threaten others and avoid prosecution, and pyrotechnics will be banned at protests. Right. For a start, they already had the power to arrest people for pretty much anything at a protest, and throwing pyrotechnics at protests is already illegal. So
So
I'm
why are they
curious.
bringing this new? Why are they bringing this new law?
Well, it smacks very much of they want to be seen to be doing something, and they've got a very narrow, tailored group of people they would like to unleash this law on, and they're beefing it up before they get all the court cases. I would guess.
Okay, well look, Fodger, have a stroll down.
Right. The law will crack down on dangerous disorder, following warnings from police chiefs that some protesters are using face coverings to conceal their identities, not only to intimidate the law-abiding majority, but also to avoid criminal convictions.
Right, so I found that really interesting because obviously a few years ago you could be arrested for not wearing a face mask. But who are they talking about? Antifa? Does that mean Antifa can't wear face masks at protests? And what about the Muslims?
No, don't be silly.
I'm
Don't be
not being
silly.
silly, 42.
No, right. You're thinking these laws are going to be rolled out evenly across every spectrum of society.
Well, that's my point. You picked up on that straight away, my friend.
Yeah, but I can guarantee you, Antifa and Extinction Rebellion are not going to start getting arrested in large numbers.
Well, they're astroturfed entities, aren't they?
Yeah, I tell you who this is going to be about. This is going to be about football supporters.
Who did you say it's against? 42?
Football supporters. They're going to hit the ultras.
Right. Dissident right?
Generally speaking, football hooligans always have been towards the right.
Well, look at Millwall.
Yeah. I'll take you past.
Millwall. There we go.
Yeah, I'll take you past Millwall and West Ham, Chelsea, Headhunters. The only sort of leftist football mobs you would have got would possibly have been half of the Liverpool. Liverpool had a left wing firm and a right wing firm.
Like Celtic.
No, well, Celtic are very left wing, right enough.
Do you remember the great big Antifa thing they had at one of their games?
Oh fuck, that's a very minor thing for them. Whenever they were hanging effigies of a player whose brother had committed suicide 2 weeks before, the depths to which Celtic supporters will drop no fucking bounds. It's.
I've got a question for you, 42, as it's like a sort of calling question thing, yeah?
Yeah.
What's your opinions on the different factions where we live, flying the Palestinian flags in certain areas and the Star of David flags in other areas? Do you think it's a good thing, or do you think they should be taken down?
I don't think they should be taken down. And I don't think anybody suggesting to take them down is going to do very well. Basically, if people want to put up flags, let them put up their flags. You will notice that all the IRA areas have got the Palestine flag up. There has been long connections between the Palestinian Liberation Army and the Irish Republican Army.
In Newry, there's loads of murals of Palestinian, the kids, and Newry supports Palestine, and
they have. See, this is the thing. You'll find that all those all those Marxist terrorist organizations do stick together. PLO are Marxist terrorists. Irish Republican Army are Marxist terrorists. They all get on.
Yeah, makes sense. Because
Well,
I drive like all the different towns, right, in County Down, and I could be driving through one town, there's Palestinian flags everywhere. I go
Yep.
2 minutes up the road to Market Hill, Star of David's everywhere.
Yep.
well,
That's exactly.
42. Just
Yep.
going back to this article and what Jack was saying about the Palestinians. I mean, what if you have Palestinian marchers in London or Belfast, and they all have their heads covered? Are the police really going to arrest them all?
Not a chance of it. They're not going to do this. They're going to very selectively enforce this law. Like back in
Well, that
right,
was my opinion. 42.
right.
Absolutely my opinion.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Back in 2012, the Union flag protest started in Northern Ireland, and there was protests going off here, there, and everywhere. And there was a woman who had posted a list of protests on her Facebook page, and the police arrived and they at her door, took all their devices off her, arrested her, and
As they do.
Right,
Yeah,
they
as they do.
determined that she had been the first person to post on Facebook about one of those protests.
Oh,
So
really?
on the back, and on the back of that, they arrested her for organizing an illegal protest. Arrested her, bailed her, give her bail conditions of nothing in your house can be connected to the internet. You will be in your house from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. With some exceptions if you have to work. And her case never got heard for over a year.
Well, can I ask you a question on that one? I mean, was that the general police or was it counter-terrorism police?
They're all the same place. Don't be thinking counter-terrorism police are different. Your average.
I just think
average,
maybe do some of them have more powers than the others, or
no, they don't. They all have the same power. An ordinary police officer can arrest you under the anti-terrorism laws. So they done that to her, and she ended up wasn't allowed on the internet for over a year. Wasn't allowed within 300 yards of a protest, despite the fact that they had taken away her ability to determine where protests were. And in 2014, and nothing happened about this. There was thousands of really egregious overreaches of power during those protests. There was a man in his late 80s, early 90s who had mobility issues, and he had turned up at a protest, and the police decided to push the crowd back, and he could not keep up with the police, so he ended up in their police lines. Not because he wanted to be there, but because he physically couldn't move quick enough. And they arrested him. They described his 2 walking sticks as offensive weapons, and the dude did a year in jail.
Yeah, 42. Yeah, there was that man, wasn't there, who he'd had a few too many beers at a protest at the Cenotaph, and he decided he had a pee next to a statue. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, well, he shouldn't have been pissing there.
Well, no, but it wasn't. He wasn't pissing on the statue. He was next to it. But
he should not have been pissing anywhere near it. But yes,
well, he probably should. But wasn't he put in jail for it?
I'm honestly not sure. But
I think he had a few months.
Yeah, and then that was 2013. Then 2014, there was a kid in England, 13, 14-year-old young lad, wanted to have a protest about his youth club being closed. So he organized his little protest with his little 13, 14-year-old friends outside David Cameron's office because he was the MP for the area. And counter-terrorism police arrived in his classroom without his parents there and took him out of class and interviewed him. And they told him that he would be responsible for anything that happened at that protest. And it didn't matter if he took his post down because it was already public and he had organized it. Oh, and by the way, they said David Cameron, if David Cameron happens to be in the office at the time, his armed guards will be there, so you never know what can happen. This is a 14-year-old kid. That's going back to 2014. I swear to fuck, we have more than enough laws to deal with protests and stuff. We choose not to. And this will be the exact same thing.
Well, 42. I mean, carry on with this article because there were some good points and bad points in this article.
Right. The new laws will crack down on dangerous disorder. Following warnings from police chiefs, some protesters, you have read that. Whilst police already have powers to ask individuals to remove these designated protests.
That's what you were saying just now, yeah.
Yep. Where police believe criminality is likely to occur, this new offence will empower officers to arrest individuals who disregard their orders, with those who flout the rules facing a month behind bars and £1,000 fine. Flares and other pyrotechnics will also be banned from protests, and protesters will no longer be able to cite the right to protest as being reasonable excuse to get away with disruptive offences such as blocking roads. Here's quite an interesting thing. Protesters will no longer be able to cite the right of protest. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's an interesting one. That was an interesting one, that little paragraph. They will no longer be able to cite the right to protest as a reasonable excuse to get away with disruptive offences such as blocking roads. They actually pick up on that later on. But and they mention what's it, no stop oil, whatever it's called.
But the laws are already in place to deal with this. You are allowed to have a protest on a functional road, but it will be a white line protest where people stand on the white line, which slows down the traffic but does not stop it.
They won't take the just stop oil people off the roads, will they?
Yeah, that's because they have chosen not to. That's not because they can't. They've got under the Highways Act, they've got the right to beat them off the road.
Yeah, and how many videos have you seen of people taking it into their own hands and then the police arrested them?
Yep.
Oh, many, Jack. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I mean, I've seen videos from Germany with the Just Stop Oil people, and the people, the truckers are ruthless with them. Just,
yeah,
you know. Did you see the one where they blocked trucks coming out of an oil factory? And it turns out it was a cooking oil factory.
Yeah. Oh,
so they haven't sent their brightest. These are cult members. These are brainwashed cult members.
Well, whenever you realize that they're gluing themselves to the road to try to change the weather, you realize that there's nothing in there that's being done out of common sense or intelligence. It's a fucking Also, with flares and pyrotechnics, the only place you see those en masse is football matches. So I think they're partially going after the football, the ultras. The measures.
Okay, this next one, 42. This next one is, to me, in my opinion, really good news.
The measures which will be introduced to the criminal justice bill will also make climbing on war memorials a specific public order offence, carrying a 3-month sentence and a £1,000 fine. This comes after a recent incident where individuals have broken away from large protests to scale national monuments, demonstrating brazen disrespect for those who gave their lives for the country. While I welcome that move,
No, absolutely.
I'm curious about whether whether
Whether they will enforce it or not.
yeah.
But
Alongside
I remember them climbing on the Royal Artillery Monument in Hyde Park Corner, and the police did nothing. So maybe, though I don't know, the Metropolitan Police are not very good.
We've seen recently with these huge Palestine protests in London, where you had the counter protests, and he said to the guy, "We can't do nothing. There's too many of them."
Then get more police.
I mean, have you seen the police cadets coming through? Did you see that photo of the little blonde kid? It looks like it looked like he's gone to work in his dad's clothes.
Huh?
I mean, that's coming. That guy is going to have the power of. He's got a warrant card. He's got the power of arrest over you.
Oh, you mean the police midget? Jack, you mean the police midget?
What's that, buddy?
The police midget.
Yes. I mean,
It's
have you seen the
5'2" or something?
It's almost like comedy sketches in London.
Yeah.
You've got 2 policewomen trying to arrest people, and they're rolling over, falling over, and losing their weapons. And there was that woman in America who pulled out a gun instead of a taser. You know. And this DEI stuff as well. This is important as well. You know, this is
that gun instead of a taser thing is that's quite an understandable mistake whenever you realize what went on. First off, they had a rookie that was taking the person out of the car, and instead of taking him straight to the back, to the boot of the car and leaning him over, he left him beside the door and got involved in a tussle. And that little policewoman who'd been on the force for 20 years, that was the first time she'd ever had to pull out her weapon on duty in a situation like that. And she fucked up. There's not enough training. And the guy, to be fair, the guy shouldn't be trying to fucking run people over with his car in the first place.
Well, we all have to remember lesbian Nana, the police officer.
Yeah, I mean, she appeared twice, didn't she? You had the whole lesbian Nana thing, and then you had her with a spray. You know. How she's still on the force, I have no idea.
Yeah, the place is fucked.
I can only imagine the programs and training that they're making these people do. You know, the critical race theory and all that stuff. You know, all the horrible anti-white stuff as well. You know, I saw a clip from Jimmy Dore, right? And he was doing a meet and greet after one of his comedy shows, and it was an American soldier who just come back from a deployment in the Middle East somewhere. And he said, as soon as we got back, we got taken into a room, our squadron, and we got told that white supremacy and white nationalists are the biggest problem in America. And you know who kicked up most, you know, because that's like, they want you to be looking at your neighbor. And you know who kicked up the most fuss about that? The minority soldiers. They said, you are ruining the cohesion of this.
Yeah, Jack, I think it's the, what's it called? Is it the Police College of London? Is it?
I know there's one in Brams Hill Police College near Reading.
But this is where they teach them all that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, diversity and all that. rubbish.
Yeah, because they've got a group called Common Core. Is it
Is
Common
that
Core? No,
42?
Common
Is
Purpose.
would you consider that communist doctrine?
Yes, it's 100% communist doctrine. But this, yeah, the actual our police force is supposed to be apolitical. It's not supposed. It's not supposed
Yeah.
to take politics into account. Now you've now got a group called Common Purpose that are going in and teaching the police a political narrative, which is very heavily left leaning and goes with all the left's talking points. How the fuck's it not political?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, in the future, what in 10 years, what is the British police force going to look like?
I dread to think.
Probably 5'2" and trans.
It depends. It depends how. There may be a point where law and order gets so bad that they change the policies in the police. They could do that.
Well, Johnny Enoch Powell makes a point here. It's probably going to look like the IDF in 10 years.
The police forces around the world are all becoming more and more militaristic. You get to the point where you more commonly see TSG, tactical support group people, with their ninja suits on than anything else.
Oh, yeah, but 42, with respect, have you seen the Metropolitan Police? About 200 armed police officers have said we're not carrying our weapons anymore.
Because of that guy who's been charged.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, so they're saying, no, we're not doing it.
Yep, and they're just right.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to give me a weapon. You're going to put me in the most dangerous environments, and if I actually
shoot it,
I've actually discharged the weapon, and in order to protect myself, we're going to go after you. Fuck that shit.
Exactly.
You can't be doing that.
You know, the one good thing about that is that they are all behind him.
Yeah.
You know, they're supporting their mate who let off a round. Whether it's by accident or not, but I think he personally, from what I saw of that incident, he was about to be run over by this guy, so he shot him. What's wrong with that?
I think that's a fair discharge of the weapon.
Yeah.
My eldest brother, he's going to be 61 this year. He was a firearms officer. He used to do royal protection.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then like a task force around Surrey. So it was quite quiet. It made a lot of things he had to do is where people had committed suicide with firearms, and someone had to go and make the firearm safe before they could retrieve the body.
Right. Yeah.
That happened quite a lot. He told me one story of a guy who'd offed himself in his transit van down a country lane, and he'd been there for about 10 days. And he'd obviously slumped over like that, shotgun, killed himself. And when my brother saw him, the pooling of the blood, his eyelids were down there like a cartoon. Yeah, it was some horrible stuff. My brother was in the army. He was two para, so jumping out of serviceable planes for fun.
Yeah.
Respect for your brother, Jack.
Yeah, he's been retired for about 6 years now, medically discharged because of his knees, jumping, landing. You know, he terrified me once. He said, we have to do night jumps where we just jump into the void, into complete blackness. I couldn't imagine my mental strength being able to do that.
Well, you know what? I was in the artillery. We always used to say there's no point of jumping out of a perfectly serviceable aircraft.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, does it? but then you look at how effective the airborne was in the end of World War II. You know.
Oh no, and during it, absolutely. No, I have respect. I'm just making a joke, a military joke.
Yeah. Right. What they're saying is, alongside these new offences, the ability to use the right to protest as a reasonable or lawful excuse to commit some crime should also be removed. But the right to protest, you were allowed to protest legally, and you weren't allowed to. You're not allowed to obstruct the road during a protest. Uh, Ensuring that protest is not used as a defence for criminality, such as obstructing public highways. That was always illegal. Locking on as well as public nuisance. The Home Secretary, James Cleverly, says recent protests have seen a small minority of dedicated to causing damage and intimidating the law abiding minority. The right to protest is paramount in our country, but taking flares to marches to cause damage and disruption is not protest. It's dangerous. This is why we're giving our police powers to prevent any of this criminality on our streets. They already had all those powers. All you're doing
It's already all there. I don't know why they're amending this. It doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, well, so they can go look at what we're doing. Here's what's happened. The Met Police in particular has facilitated illegal protest by Just Stop Oil, Extinction Rebellion, whatever cover name those same
Free
people use.
Palestine.
Right, Free Palestine.
Yeah.
The Met have been facilitating it when they should not. Then they've got lots of questions about why is this being allowed to happen. And now they're bringing out a law that they don't need in order to say, well, see, we couldn't have done anything before because it wasn't within, they weren't breaking the law, when quite clearly obstructing the highway is illegal. You're not allowed to just do that.
Well, I think they might be building on the law, 42.
No, this is total repackaged. There's nothing here I'm seeing that's giving them any power that they didn't already have.
So why change the law then?
It's why now?
Well,
Why now?
Look,
do they see the tide turning? Do they see an uprising?
Well, I think the
Do they know
covering
it's
the
coming?
face is a new thing. The covering your face at protests is a new thing.
No, it's not.
No?
I remember in 2012, whenever the Union Banner protests were coming towards city centre, the big signs and the loudspeaker going, no face masks permitted beyond this point. No face masks permitted beyond this point. I'd repeat, it's always been, you've never, the police have always had the power to go, right, those masks off because we can't see what you're doing. And it interferes with their ability to video everything and then make up charges later.
Yeah, I mean, my feeling is they know that there is a silent majority that are very pissed off with the current state of things, and I think they know it's coming, and they are preemptively striking on this.
Yeah, they're trying to make it look like they're doing something. We will wait and see what the changes are. We will see.
They're trying to justify their fucking salary.
Yeah, and we'll see exactly who it is gets prosecuted under these laws, because I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Extinction Rebellion. I'll tell you something else. I haven't read all of this, obviously.
No, 42. You don't have to read it all.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of government rubbish here.
Does it say anything?
The use of flares and pyrotechnics, yeah, I agree with that. I don't think they should be used in demonstrations.
They're generally not. The only place you really see pyrotechnics being used is with football supporters.
Mainly on the continent as well, like Italy and places like that. Well, the ultras.
Yep.
But if you scroll down a little bit,
what they should have in this is something about not being allowed to use your political objective as your excuse to commit illegal acts, because all the Extinction Rebellion people, whenever they go into their trial, they're not talking about what they did. They're talking about all the bad CO2 and what they're trying to protect, and the world's in crisis, and they should not be allowed to argue that to a jury. Right. Where you want me to scroll down to?
Gosh, let's have a look. College of Policing. Oh, that's what I was thinking about.
It mentions the College of Police in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
College of Policing's Chief Constable Andy Marr said, "I welcome new offences. This legislation will provide the officers who are policing protests and working hard in complex environments to keep people safe. The safety of both those protesting and others nearby trying to go about their business is top priority, and our training and guidance focuses on balancing the rights of those protesting with the rights of those affected. The new legislation is now clear that protest is not an excuse for serious disruption. It never was. As with previous changes, the College of Policing will work quickly to provide practical advice, training, and support for policing to utilise these new powers. So we'll go if it's Extinction Rebellion and leave them alone. If it's a bunch of those rat bastard right wingers, get them all arrested." Speaking to police chiefs at a round table on Tuesday, 6th of February, the Home Secretary thanked the police for the efforts and successes they have made in keeping the public safe during recent protests. Since 7 October 2023, there have been more than 1,000 protests and vigils, with more than 26,000 police officers shifts between 7th and 17th of December alone, with 600 arrests. The Home Secretary called on chiefs to... I'm not believing that 600 figure because it's way too round. The Home Secretary called on chiefs to continue to use all their powers at their disposal to maintain order as they meet the evolving challenges. Measures announced today, 8th of February, are part of the government's ongoing crackdown on disruptive protests and follow legislation passed last year, which criminalises actions such as locking on and giving police the ability to stop and search protesters for items such as padlocks and super glue if they suspect they're setting out to cause chaos.
Yes, get that. Yeah, go to the next one.
Yeah,
up. I thought this was very interesting. During the most recent Just Stop Oil campaign. So I can't believe that they mention that.
Oh. Yeah, during the most recent Just Stop Oil campaign, police figures show that 657 protesters were arrested in 2023.
Okay, so we've heard of their arrests. What happens after?
Well, exactly, Jack. I was just about to say that. What happened to them? They were arrested and probably just released. You know?
I'd imagine caution.
Yeah.
Caution at most.
There are court cases currently ongoing.
Are they anything like Sam Melia's?
Well, it seems to be pot luck with the judge, because there's one judge disbarred any evidence about climate change and says, no, you're here to present a legal defense for your actions and not the motives. And that woman got found guilty, although I think she got a 1-year suspended for a year. There are other cases where they're being allowed to go in and argue, but the world's on fire, and if we don't do this, then it's going to be the end of the world, and we have a moral right to do it. And that means that if you've got a jury that agrees with that bullshit, you'll get off, and if you don't, you're going down. I would say, what I will say is, anybody making that argument, they've got a fucking huge set of swingers, because if you get a jury with people like me on it, you're automatically going down. Because I don't really care why they...
42. Do people like us, after Sam, James Costello, Ben, do we have to be worried? Are we on lists?
Yep, I think we are.
Oh, if you're not on... See, anybody that's not on a government list by now, they need to question what the fuck they've been doing with their time. We are all on lists. And... yeah, blah, blah, blah. I'm 42.
I agree, 100%.
Right, I'm 42. I don't have a... I'm not using a human government name, and I don't show my face on camera. If the police want to find me, it'll take them a good total of 30 seconds. It's... we are all on lists, and if they decide that they want us, then they will come get us.
But they can't find the acid thrower. No, sorry, it wasn't acid, was it? It was somebody.
Oh, well, they reckon he's dead.
Well,
I heard he jumped.
Yeah,
Last year, I heard he jumped.
the Met
in the
Police are
Thames.
working on the theory that he ended up in the drink.
Yep,
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's a bit convenient for them.
I mean, that's a theory, though, right? They've not found a body.
No.
The Met Police boast that, London is the most secure city, CCTV more than New York. So why can't they find a man with half his face melted? It bemuses me.
Well,
They come and knock on your door because you sent a mean tweet.
Well,
They can't find a man.
Well, did he get acid on himself as well?
Yeah, his eye was all melted in that.
Right.
Yeah, he did.
So-
But there's a big question: was it acid or alkali?
Well, this is the way the media spun it, because we know the acid attacks are linked to a certain community. We didn't have that crime here 20, 30 years ago. That's been imported. And the acid attack is a thing in India, Pakistan. They use it for honor and all that, right? So they brought it here. But it's weird how the media spun it as an alkali attack.
I've never heard of an alkali attack before.
Me neither.
I would need to look it up, but I'm pretty sure alkali doesn't burn in the same way that acid does.
It's corrosive, though, isn't it? When it's up at the end of the pH scale.
No, it neutralizes the corrosion of the acid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not au fait with chemistry. I'm interested in it, but I don't know too much
Well,
about it.
water is 7, isn't it? Anything over 7 is.
What's pH
acid.
neutral? Is it 6?
And 7. Yeah.
7, right? Okay.
Like water, and then you go below that, it's alkali. Above that, it's acid.
So if you're making a big vat of acid for industrial use, right? You've got a business where you take the rust off car chassis, right? So people can, and you're making a bath where you're going to crane this whole chassis in, let it sit in the acid, it'll take away all the rust and whatnot and lift it back out again. If your acid is too strong, what you do is you add alkali to reduce the strength of the acid. Now, does that
Let's
mean
not forget the rest of this story. This man travelled down from Newcastle to do this attack. He's a twice convicted sex offender. When he had his thing at court for asylum, the Home Office didn't turn up, and that's why he was granted asylum. And also because his crimes didn't commit him to 12 months in prison, which is the benchmark for deportation, he just went under the radar.
Right. So what you're telling me is we've got somebody that, aside from being a scumbag and having previous offences, travel quite a distance to do an acid attack, right? And That's actually an idea. Pakistan 42 is going to start a car resto channel.
Yeah. Mark one Cortina.
Yep.
Uh,
So, but he's a scumbag that came, traveled quite a distance to throw acid on somebody, and then he threw it on himself as well.
I don't know if he threw it on himself. It might have got on him in the attack. That's the details we'll probably never find out.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we're never going to find out about this one.
It's a strange story, isn't it? It's a strange event, how it's all played out.
It is and it isn't. You know, unfortunately, this is what these people do.
Yeah.
And
see, Johnny Notpal said, yeah, he was after the sex offence, he was granted asylum, and the reason he was because the offences he committed didn't make the benchmarks of over 12 months in custodial sentencing, which is the benchmark for deportation or asylum claim. So that's how he went under the radar. And when he turned up to court for his asylum claim, the Home Office didn't turn up, so he was granted asylum after 2 sex offences. I mean, let's look at that system is rotten.
right, the seeker's telling me that caustic soda is an alkaline, and caustic soda will definitely burn you.
Yeah, I heard a horrific story once about a chef in a pub, really hot, thought he was grabbing his glass of lemonade and he fucking chugged a glass of caustic soda.
Yep, happens regular.
Jeez, couldn't imagine.
Whenever people put cleaning products in the stuff that's not designed for.
Oh yeah, John's on fire tonight. Let's not forget this guy was a good Christian as well, backed up by Church of England reprobates.
Oh.
You know, they've got a lot to answer for, Church of England, what they're doing with this asylum, saying, oh yeah, he's a Christian now, he's a good Christian now. They go to a couple of Alpha Group meetings and they're a Christian, and they can't go back to their country because they'll be oppressed as a minority. It's a blag. I think that some claim to be gay, some claim to be Christian. It's an easy blag, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and there's no well, there is a small matter of the punishment for converting from Islam to Christianity is death.
Yeah, you're an infidel.
Yeah, no, well, it's further than that. They
if you leave Islam, you are marked for death.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. There's a thing that they're called. Rory lost the link. 1 second. There you go, Rory. That's it back in. Yep, it's they have a term for it, but yeah. So you've got that to worry about.
I mean, how can, the Christian thing, right? How can you prove that? Eat a bacon sandwich? How can you prove it? It's unprovable. I'm a Christian now. Oh, are you? It's I don't know how it's going to be fixed. This system. It needs to be completely tore up and rebuilt.
I'm also not sure how becoming a Christian changes everything. And while I will say God has the ultimate ability to forgive everything and all that, but that's supposed to be in the afterlife, not here on earth. And if you did foul things as a Muslim, as whatever religion, and you suddenly become Christian, that does not mean that the risk of you behaving in a similar way again is in any way diminished. Apostasy. Thank you, Pat. That's the word I was looking for. Apostasy is the action of leaving Islam, and apostates must be murdered by their religion, the religion of peace.
Many pieces.
Well, do you know how they get to? It's the religion of peace. At the time, whenever all the world is Islamic, and not just Islamic, one particular type of Islamic, everyone in the world will believe the same thing.
Is that the Wahhabism sect?
Well, it won't matter. It'll be whichever sect wins out over all the Islamic sects, because, right, first of all, you've got to get rid of everybody that's not Islamic. And then whenever you've done that, the sects are going to have to get rid of every person of the other sects, and one sect will win out. So it could be Wahhabism, it could be Shiite, it could be Shia, whatever. But everybody in the world will be a Shia, a Sunni, whatever. And whenever everybody's the same, we'll have the most peaceful place existence ever. However, there's quite a bit of killing needs to be done in order to get us to that place. And that's how they justify the religion of peace thing.
Yeah, generally.
Yeah, we've just
42. Very quickly. Thank you for putting up that article. I hope you enjoyed it. I thought it was worth a discussion.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I hadn't seen that article, but 42 going through it and picking out chunks in that, the way I see it is it's a preemptive strike on dissident right and people just getting generally pissed off with the state of this country, because it's not functioning as a country anymore. Did you see that queue for the dentist in Bristol?
No, Jack, I didn't. But
right, 3 days people were queuing up, and there was, let's say, they were very new to the parish.
Yes, I did.
Oh.
And all the white people were at the end of the queue. Is that the one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
I have looked into dentistry in England and Wales, and it turns out that the point I was trying to argue a point was I'd sent a freedom of information request for how many people in this constituency had been unable to get a dentist, access a National Health Service dentist. And the reply I got back was that you don't need to get a dentist in your area. So say, for sake of the argument, you live in inner city London and there's no available dentists. If you can find a dentist that has vacancy, an NHS dentist that has vacancies in, say, the Cotswolds, right? You're free to sign up that dentist. And it would help if you've got friends or relatives out there or some form of work or something that you do every 6 months, and you can then attend that dentist there. And how they have got round people not being able to prove the figures and locations where you simply just can't find an NHS dentist. As I said, it's not location driven. You can apply for any NHS dentist in England or Wales.
People are doing home dentistry. People are pulling out their own teeth.
Yep,
because they can't get a dentist.
Or
You know,
that's the old thing, isn't it? You put the string to the door, don't you, around the tooth, and then you
or the
slam
brick
the door
out the window.
That's what we used to do. Yep.
Do your hospitals have like a school of dentistry that opens at 6 p.m. and anybody
Like an emergency dentist?
Well, it's actually a school of dentistry, but it's from the hospital, but it's people that are training. Right, so you rock up at 6 o'clock, take a number, and then they see everybody that turns up that night, and whatever it is you need done gets done. And if they need follow-up, you can not so much get booked in, but say, right, come back in 2 weeks' time and we'll do whatever. So you go through that thing, you know, picking the number and sitting and waiting.
I actually think 42, you know, a weekend in the Cotswolds, go to the dentist on a Friday, spend a weekend in the Cotswolds.
Yep.
Not about holiday, really.
Yeah. You know, and the reason why I put that out there is everybody automatically looks for a close dentist, But if you can find a dentist somewhere that's a further away, but you can manage to travel for whatever reason, it's the easiest way to get yourself actually with a dentist that you're willing to have. You know,
I mean, I've had to have quite extensive dentistry work last year because of certain phases in my life. I've lost quite a lot of my molars. I've lost the 2 wisdom teeth at the top. And yeah, I need more dentistry work. When they took one of my wisdom teeth out, the girl couldn't get it out, so she had to go and get another dentist that got it out. And as they got it out, they cracked the back of the tooth next to it. So I've got to go and get that sorted now.
yeah.
I've got to save what I got, otherwise I won't be able to eat nuts anymore.
The other question is, with our demographics, how the fuck are we having problems with fighting dentists?
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever I was a kid, you had two grannies and grandas that produced a bunch of parents, and those parents had kids, and the number of the family started off small at the top and worked wider at the bottom. Whereas now we have children that have got two parents and possibly one grandparent, and the two grandparents, trees upside down. And since our population is declining, I don't see how we end up with a shortage of dentists, or also a shortage of housing. It's almost like they're shipping people in.
Well, you know perfectly well, 42. They're all doctors, dentists, and engineers coming in.
Well, yes, I get the.
But I haven't seen one. Not yet. Not where I live.
Look, these doctors and dentists, they just like having a nice brawl in the middle of the street. Who knew?
Dublin, 42. Let's talk about what's happening in Dublin. There's some serious protests going on there, it seems.
Well,
I know you don't like talking about Dublin.
Well,
but
I've seen large protests on both sides of that divide. The amount of pro-Palestine protests that are going on currently in Dublin is off the hook.
the Irish down there, they seem to be looking after themselves. They seem to be protesting against the immigration.
Right. Well, have you not seen the pro-immigration protests?
Yeah, some. But
right, yeah, but for every time they have an anti-immigration protest, they have a pro-immigration protest.
And they come out.
Right. And every time the pro-immigration protest, granted, I'm not there in the flesh, but from what I can see, the pro-immigration protests are larger than the anti ones. Having said that, the anti-immigration protests in Dublin and other parts of Ireland are larger than the anti-immigration protests we have in mainland and the rest of the United Kingdom, because we don't have those. We don't have those at all, or when we do, it's very few and far between. So I honestly don't know.
All right, I'll ask you this one. How is the population of Ulster changing in terms of ethnicity?
Depends on the area. Sheepdog, are you saying that the pro-immigration protests are not larger? Because I don't know. Look, mate, I'm judging this off videos I've seen. So I don't 100% know. I'm saying from what I've seen, there seems to be quite large pro-immigration. Right. The retards were outnumbered last week. Right. Okay, away. I stand to be corrected. I'm pretty sure Sheepdog knows more about this than I do. It depends on your location. Where I live, I'm not seeing very many foreigners. Possibly 10 to 15 a week, which is 10 to 15 a week more than I was seeing 15 years ago. So it is going up. But if you go into the Irish nationalist areas, it's very prevalent.
So I live in Banbridge 42, but I work out of Newry.
Yeah.
And in the time I've worked there, it's changing. It's changing. There's a lot of new to the parish every time I drive around.
Jack, that was the next question I was going to ask. You know, how is it changing? How much is it changing?
There's certain areas that are changing. Where I live, not so much. But in Newry, it's changing. And I go over the border quite often because Newry's on the border. Dundalk is like mini Mogadishu. There's massive Somalian enclaves there now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's Dundalk. Where else did I? Drogheda. Changing there. So it's driven. I mean, you've seen the protests down in Dublin. They're huge. Did you see it in the week with all the tricolours on the street? That was lovely to see.
Yeah.
Lovely to see.
That's what I was thinking about. That's why I mentioned it for you too.
But no coverage. Only clips on Telegram and X and that. Nothing for the news.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. Seeing that there was a large protest last week, the figures were that I think the figures for that one was larger than the counter protest, but that would be. It could be the shape of things to come. I don't know. I'll tell you more whenever I see who they decide to elect, because it's looking very like Sinn Féin could get on down south.
So they're both. They'll be in charge of both.
I honestly don't know. I don't follow their politics close enough. I try not to. They're.
Have you got any opinions on the First Minister that came to power Saturday?
Yes. I don't think she's. Well, my first thing is I don't think Stormont should still be up and running. I think that whole assembly, the sham of a peace process we have, that whole thing needs to be in the bin. I think that Michelle O'Neill is no different to any other top level.
Is it a big thing though, having the first nationalist? What's she called, First Minister?
No, it makes no difference. This is how stupid our parliament is, right? See the way, generally speaking, in a parliament, everybody goes out and vote. The parties come back in, and the parties that agree form a coalition and a government, and the people that disagree with them form an opposition, right? Well, we've got a coalition between the unionists and the nationalists who agree on absolutely fuck all. So you're not on good grounds for a government anyway. And we also decided that the First Minister would come from the largest party overall. The Deputy First Minister would come from the second largest party overall, and they would have exactly the same levels of powers. The one thing I will say is that the Irish Nationalist Coalition, which I would currently state as being Sinn Féin, SDLP, Green Party, People Before Profit, Alliance Party. I can't think any more off the top of my head.
TUV, is it?
No, their TUV are very pro-union, but all those other groups, they will be much more.
Sorry, what is TUV?
Traditional Unionist Voice.
Oh, okay.
Who are probably about to become the largest party in Northern Ireland if they've got the infrastructure for it.
Is this Jim Allister?
Excuse my ignorance, 42, but I had to ask the question.
This is Jim Allister. Very, very decent politician. If they have the infrastructure to stand in enough places, they are going to take over from the DUP as the largest unionist party, because the DUP have went back into that without getting really what they needed. And
have you seen the signs up? They're already up in Banbridge. DUP sellout.
Oh, they've been up around here for quite a while. Along with like we would signs up with a picture of Leo Varadkar and the pictures of the Dublin Monaghan bombing from '73. It says a return to violence is a strong possibility, or something like that. Words to that effect. There no Irish sea border signs everywhere.
On one of the big roundabouts leading up to the A1 in Newry, there's a great big wooden sign up that with like a big sort of silhouette thing. It says, "Salute the men and women of violence."
Yeah. And the other thing I've noticed is all the bonfires are currently starting to collect wood, which is very early for them. So I would expect quite the large fires come July.
Well, 42, did you hear Punxsutawney Phil, you know, the groundhog from Philadelphia, from Pennsylvania, he didn't see his shadow a couple of weeks ago. So we're going to have an early spring, according to Punxsutawney Phil.
I will wait and see what happens. And actually, it hasn't been very cold today.
But you have to trust.
When I left for work this morning, it was
42.
Yeah, when I left for work this morning, it was very, very foggy. They have the fog lights on and that, so couldn't see much in front of you.
Yeah, it was a bit foggy this evening whenever I was taking Amity up home, but it wasn't overly cold.
I mean, I've seen daffodils ready to come, starting to come. I mean, I saw lambs today. Is there like a different breed of lambs that they lamb them early? Because it does seem early in the year. All the lambs are out. But
the only thing I know that my some total knowledge of farming and lambs and baby goats and all that comes from whenever I probably got to my late teens, early 20s, and had car trips out into the country and seeing these little things bouncing about around about between now and the next 2 months. I've no idea about when the breed or anything. I just know it's coming up.
Yeah, I have some sheep around me, Jack. I have not seen a lamb yet.
I've seen. Today I saw them. I saw them galloping around. You know, that little thing they do with their legs.
Yeah,
lovely to see. I love all that. I know that the seasons. You know, we're going to go into light now, longer days, and get some vitamin D and that. You know.
but you're
Okay,
in a,
I just want to make you aware of an article that has just come through about the recruitment drive for the army. If you want to talk about that for a moment.
oh yeah, let's
Um,
go for that. Yeah, good
So
one.
the army are to relax security checks for recruits in diversity drive. What do you make of that?
Oh, here we go.
Yes.
Here we
Do you
go.
want citizenship? You want citizenship?
Yeah.
Go and do a couple of years in the army.
Do you
That's
have a
what's
copy
coming.
of that? Do you have a copy you could put on the screen?
I could send it to 42 on Telegram.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, let's read that. That would be interesting.
Budgie Burger asked a very important question there. Do you get bluebills? All I can say, Budgie, is our bluebills are blue.
We get bluebells. I get
Our
bluebells.
bluebills are blue.
Yep.
I've sent you that 42.
Yeah,
Yeah, Rags
just got
brings
it.
up a point there. Article in the week. Again, I mean, this is rehashed. They were saying this last year. The countryside is colonialism
It's
and racist
racist.
and that.
Oh yeah.
How can the countryside? I mean, are the animals using offensive slurs?
Well, you know, like Jack and 40, I could tell you a story about that. A few years ago, there was an article in the national newspapers talking about how Dorset is racist. And they had they quoted a guy who I knew who was a newsagent in my local town where I was living. And he said, I had to leave. People were so racist to me. Right, now listen to this. All right. Firstly, he actually employed my son as a newspaper boy. And secondly, my wife taught all his 3 children to swim. So I think it was News of the World. They must have paid him a ton of money to say that, because it was an absolute lie.
So that's today. That article, 10th of February.
Army to relax.
So it's a leaked document as well. Leaked document. So someone's whistleblown on this.
Right. Describes vetting as a primary barrier to non-UK personnel being enlisted into the officer corps. Right. So this isn't for squaddies. This is only for officers.
This is for Rupert's.
Yep.
Rupert.
But generally speaking, in order to be a Rupert, you need a university degree.
Yeah, well, they're relaxing it though, aren't they? The standards for everything is being lowered. In the police force, there's no real physicality testing. You haven't got to be a sick. If you need a policeman, right? If you're in trouble, do you want a 6'2" brick unit to come and help you, or do you want a little lady waddling, can't do nothing? It's the same in the fire service as well. You know, diversity in the fire service. If you're being rescued from a burning building, do you want the bloke who knows what he's doing, or a diversity hire who's just going to let you burn in that building? We've seen Boeing have been exposed, haven't they? Boeing have been massively exposed. People don't want to fly in Boeing planes anymore because door plugs are just blowing out and passengers are noting rivets missing on the wing. You know, this is incredible.
I'm doubtful that this is a result of the diversity drive.
So what do you think it is?
Right. See if you went back 20 years ago, Boeing in a factory might have employed, and say they had a factory with 10,000 employees, they probably employed 1,000 inspectors who checked everything at every stage, right? And in that same factory, they probably employ today 0 inspectors, and everything is operator approved.
Well, here's my take on it. When Boeing started, it was created by engineers who knew what they were doing, passionate about what they were doing. Obviously, it gets bought out by capital venture. Boeing is late stage capitalism. That's what we're seeing. It's cutting costs, and it's all about dividends to the shareholders, not about safety of the planes.
By the way, I don't think Boeing aircraft are any better or any worse than any other aircraft. I think that this is one where they just got unlucky.
But what about what you see is like it's not just one incident, is it? Like,
Yeah.
And then the day after is another incident, and the day
Right.
after that was another.
Okay.
Is it because they've been exposed?
Right, but this has probably got more to do with COVID than anything else, right? Here, and also with reduction in workforce. Say you've got a job that this person does this job every day, and they do this job the same way, and then all of a sudden they're not there, and you've somebody new in doing the job, and they're
Well,
just
like a third party outside company.
Another employee that does a job similar to that at that level, right? And they take them from the job that we're doing, put them on to the job that needs backfilled, and they don't give them any proper training, and they sort of say, do it this way, and the quality goes to shit.
Quickly.
What do you think about like me saying though, like, because it seems like I said, Boeing was started by people enthusiastic about what they were doing, right? But now it's owned by capital ventures and people investing in it. So it's not about the engineering anymore, the creation of beautiful aircraft. It's about making profit.
Well, it sort of always has been. Quickly.
All I can say is, see, from working in the aircraft industry for 30 odd years.
You did, yeah?
No, I work in the aircraft industry, right? And have done for 30 odd years. The quality of the aircraft has plummeted.
Diminished.
Right. The inspection on the aircraft parts has diminished. This is sector wide. This isn't Boeing. This isn't Airbus. This isn't Bell or whatever. This is how the industry has changed across the spectrum, and they have reduced costs here, there, and everywhere. Inspection in any meaningful form no longer exists, and I can tell you that I know whenever somebody, for these things come down in production lines, so I know that if parts that come to me start coming to me slightly different, maybe holes, a couple of holes needed to be drilled, but then I don't get drilled, it's because somebody new has been thrown on that job and they haven't been fully trained, and it comes down a little bit different. And I would say what you're seeing with Boeing is this taken to extremes. I'm still waiting on hearing the report. I think it's possible that some bolts were missed whenever that plug that got sucked out was put in.
That was Air Alaska, wasn't it?
Yeah, but see, the one that Air Max that came down the production line, the one before it and the one after is probably the same as that one.
Well, wasn't there two disasters with the Max that was, where it was a software issue, and two planes were about, I think it was a death toll of over 600.
Oh, well, this one does go to your point about shitty engineering, because they started to produce the aircraft and they ordered up the engines. They put in an order with whatever company it was, Rolls-Royce, Trent, whoever it was, and they ordered all these engines at X size. And whenever they came to bolt it underneath the wing, they found a ground clearance issue, right? Mm-hmm. So in order to solve the problem with ground clearance, they decided to tilt the engine, which meant that in its natural state, it would want to push the engine towards the ground. and then they put in software to correct that issue and make it fly straight. But the software was put in as an optional extra, and you got budget airlines in Africa, or I think it was Africa, that did the EasyJet thing, and no, we don't take any optional extras. So they got them without the software, and the plane took off and done a nosedive.
Yeah, I think. Let me have a quick look where the disasters were. I think maybe Indonesia was one of them.
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look.
Middle East, Asia, Africa, I think. I'm not 100% sure. But it was, yeah, that one was down to...
Right, so the Boeing 737 MAX, March 2019, in Indonesia and Ethiopia, caused the death of 346. So I over-egged it, but 346.
Yeah. Whoa, that's a lot. That's the full plane, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's two planes.
The plane, the aircraft took off, got halfway to its flying altitude, and nosedived. So I was reading the comment there. Right. Yeah. That one was down to shitty engineering, and also whenever they realized that they got the engineering wrong, instead of trying to rectify the whole thing, putting in a quick and cheap fix.
Which was software, right? Which was like an autopilot thing that the pilots realized that they couldn't overturn. It was that was the issue, wasn't it? It was doing so. It took over. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't our good friend Nigel Farage involved in it?
Yeah, he survived a plane crash in a light aircraft, didn't he?
Yeah.
Mm.
Did he lose a testicle? Something like that.
No idea. No idea. No idea.
I know nothing.
That would be a weird accident to crash in a light aircraft and lose a testicle. Did you see the video a few weeks ago where a light aircraft came down in a ghetto area of America? Instead of helping people, they were like twerking on the plane and all that. You know, there was a guy lying in the plane, like just twitching, and then a guy about 10 foot the other way, and no help to them. No, they were just looking, trying to take stuff out of the plane.
Yeah, whenever they came back, that plane was on bricks.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy world we live in.
So,
some people
so what about these airlines and that? You see these stupid videos they're putting out where they're prancing down the aisle and they've got the rainbow flags and they've got the men in dresses because that's what they want to wear now. Like, I just want who would you rather have? A DEI pilot who's got, I don't know, a couple of 100 hours flight, or do you want Mike, the 60-year-old veteran, 20,000 flying hours? He's being pushed aside because of diversity.
Yep. Well, my brother was a commercial airline pilot,
right,
most of his life. So I would trust him. He actually built his own aircraft. Funnily enough, it's a little small twin-seater, one behind the other.
Oh, like a little Cessna.
And yeah, like that. I forget the name of it, but it looks a bit like an ME-109, but it's two-seater one. And he took that fully aerobatic, and that's an awful lot of fun until you throw up.
Yeah,
the loop, and then the barrel rolls and stuff.
I would absolutely love I talked about my brother earlier. Yeah. For his 60th birthday, his wife got him the Spitfire experience down at Biggins Hill.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, and he did that, and did all the barrel rolls. I would absolutely love that experience. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, it's quite fun, but
have you done it, Rory?
Don't have. I've flown it myself.
Have you been in a Spitfire?
No, I haven't. No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I'd love that. I don't know how much it costs, but I'd love to do that.
The thing about my brother's airplane
That Spitfire
is
experience is about £600.
that he has. If you're in the back seat, there's only one back seat, but it has a control handle behind it, so he can say you have control, and then you can actually fly it. So he handed it over to me, and I did a few turns and stuff, nothing really special like he can do, but yeah, no, it's quite fun.
I just had a quick look at the Spitfire experience, and it's got some reviews from TripAdvisor. It's had 212 reviews, 5 stars at 97%, and 4 stars at 3%, and the rest are obviously no. So it's obviously seems like a good day out.
Yeah, Master BM made a good comment. I'm going to see if I can find this where it's not on someone else's show.
This was amazing. This went exactly how you would imagine it. They sent their best SWAT team, Chile, to do this exercise, and it was. I've seen it juxtaposed with the men doing exactly the same.
Yeah.
Have you seen the men doing it? When they're running, the women were just waddling down to the thing. When they got on that zip line, they were just stuck in the middle. It was dropping their weapons.
I'm about to put it up on the screen.
Yeah, do it.
Here we go. I'm not sure about this video because I haven't seen it first. Just check it. It's on the screen. It is. Here we go.
Vamos.
Here we go. Look, just sort of taking it easy. Nice light jog. Here we go. The best Chile can offer.
Involved in the UE SWAT Challenge this year.
Right. Off we go.
Belarus, Thailand, Chile. 2 teams from the Emirates.
She only made it because of what the hander kicked her.
Oh! The first one to get wet in the ice bath today. And, well, they are stuck in earlier on this morning.
Still out.
Vamos, vamos.
Right. I'm going to take this down and then check back on it in a minute or two. But yes, that was.
You don't want to strike? Do you think you might get a strike?
Yeah. No, this goes on forever.
Oh, but have you seen it where they show the men doing it?
No, I haven't seen that.
And in 5 seconds, all of them are over on the zip line.
Yeah. I'm going to take a wild guess. Were the men going over one at a time so they weren't affecting the wire of the person?
No, they all went after each other. It was all a big block.
Right. But they just kept their knees
They
up.
got the momentum. They knew what they were doing. They were trained to do this. These people are DEI. They have not had the experience. They're just thrown in because they're women. That's it.
Well, they're also, they don't have the upper body strength, do they?
No, and that's just a scientific fact.
Oh.
Well, let me check this out. I don't think your mate's allowed to drag you back like that.
Well,
Oh, trying to fish out the weapon.
Yeah,
we'll have to retrieve
this is.
weapons
I've
from
listened
the
to the
ice
commentary, and you lose major points for all
that
this.
momentum.
These are major things.
Forces those behind to stall, and that's when the problems begin. And we saw.
Here we go again.
It almost happened a little bit earlier on.
Hey, can I have my sidearm back, please?
Just talking to the judges at the moment.
I think it should be the SWAD team, special weapons and dunking.
Fishing out your pistol.
Oh, and of course the added.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we're at. I mean, if you call the Chile SWAT team, you're dead. You're not getting saved. Have you seen the Chinese military videos where they're scaling down the buildings upside down and then shooting into the windows?
Well,
Yeah,
Jack,
seeing that the Chinese,
I wonder how they do in the Ukraine.
the Chinese and the Russians, they seem to have quite the skills with all that.
Right, 42. I've got a proper Irish drink.
Oh, yes, main lemonade from the
Tastes
main
like
man.
cider.
Yep. Do you still have a lemonade fan?
Yeah, we have the vans that go around. The main vans go around with the bottles in the
Yep.
back and that.
Yes, I remember that every Saturday morning.
I always
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
Maine was. I always thought Maine was a state in the in America.
Oh,
It's,
isn't it the smallest state?
Not quite, but getting there. Yeah.
yeah, it's also a very famous lemonade producer in Northern Ireland. And they used to go around everywhere on Saturday morning with a lorry and bottles and stuff, and then you got money back in your bottles back in the day.
Well,
Yeah. No, my old man used to tell me in London, you used to get like the penny back on the bottles and that, right?
Yeah.
So they take a crate in and get their money back, right? And then they jump over the wall of the shop, get their crate back, and then go back. Double. Oh, you have to do little blags like that. In the 80s, my dad was working on building sites in my hometown, and it was like you'd sign in on one building site, disappear, get out of a hole, go on another building site, and get 2 days' wages.
well,
Yeah, it was all going on.
Here's a question for you two and everyone in the chat. I don't know if anyone's old enough to remember Panda Pops.
Oh yeah. I think you still get them, can't you?
No,
Haven't seen them in a while.
What were they like?
My father started that company in the 1970s.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh wow! Yeah, I used to drink Panda Pops in a little bottles. You get cola, lemonade, orangeade. Yeah. Wow. That's
those are
interesting.
the ones. Yep. And yeah, they were really successful for a while, and then he sold it to the local brewery, Hall and Woodhouse Limited, and they were actually turning over more liquid volume in Panda Pops than they were in beer. But then they just got hit by the big companies, and they ended up closing it down. But yeah, there we are. Bit of family history. Bit of family history for you.
Yeah. Ragnar always talks about the Breadmen 42. Do you still get them around?
No. The bread man now just deliver to the shops.
Do you remember a time where you'd get up in the morning and walk down your street and every house would have milk bottles and orange juice and stuff on it? That industry's gone, isn't it? I mean, I haven't seen a milkman in years in their little floats. Years.
Well,
the supermarket took over that, didn't it? Supermarket monopolised that.
There still are milkmen that deliver about here. But the bottles are gone. Obviously, it's all cartons.
See, what I see is driving around the farms. The farms have their own milk machines where you can go.
Yes, that's became a thing.
And get your fresh milk. Yeah, they even do like milkshakes in them and stuff.
Yeah, that has.
There's a farm. There's a farm not too far from me. I think it's about a 20-minute drive where you can actually get raw milk unpasteurized.
I
don't think I would go that far. I want my milk pasteurized.
Some people swear by it though, don't they?
Oh yeah, the raw milk thing. Yeah. I mean, 42. I remember. I mean, going around to a local farm, and the farmer's wife, she'd run out of milk, and we were having a coffee, and she'd just give me a jug, and she'd go, just go dip it in the tank, and that was straight out of the cow. So that was unpasteurized, unhomogenized, and it was delicious. It did me no harm.
Well, see, it depends how much of it you drink. That's where this all becomes a problem. If you're drinking a lot of unpasteurized milk, you're going to end up with a problem.
Well, no, 42. No, I think if you drink it fresh, why can't you drink it fresh from the cow? I mean, our ancestors did. No one was pasteurizing milk back then, and they seemed to be okay.
Maximus says in the chat there, pasteurization kills probiotics.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never had it, so I can't claim to be like a raw milk connoisseur or anything. I've heard people talk about it, especially like in the sort of world of like keeping fit and people keeping like a real clean diet and that, you know.
I honestly don't know enough about it. I do have one story about unpasteurized milk, but it's sort of like anecdotal. And wouldn't like to put it out as something that's actually not because.
And Maximus makes a very good point there. How the world evolved with cattle, like the Asians can't tolerate milk, can they? Their genetics. They struggle to. They struggle with milk.
I didn't know
and
that.
I wonder if that's a thing from they didn't have. I don't know. I don't. But maybe they didn't grow, sort of evolve with cattle and stuff. You know, I'm not sure. But I know that they struggle to digest milk. That part of the world.
They maybe had cattle, but just didn't utilize the milk. They maybe utilized the meat or something. I don't know.
But then I've seen those tribes in Africa that like basically worship cows, and you know. They're herders. That's all they do. Walk around with their cows, and they don't kill them, but their diet is literally milk.
Mm. Yeah, and then there's one side in Africa that drink the blood.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've seen a couple. There's a guy. What's he called? The Best Ever Food Review Show, where he goes and eats with all these tribesmen, and then that little Norwegian guy, Harold Balder. He did you see that one when he got involved with that tribe in Africa and he was doing like the one thing you couldn't do? They killed a baboon and skinned it. It was hanging up in a tree and it looked like a human. Yeah, and he's like, I can't. This is too far. I can't eat this. Bushmeat, which is how we probably got a lot of different pathogens that have entered the human sort of.
The other thing is, but as we evolved and our diets changed, we have probably lost some of the stuff that we had that allowed us to live off that.
Yeah, that's right. Hindus worship cows, don't they? They you see streets in India where there's cows blocking the road, and they don't move it. They just sit and wait for it to move because they revere this these things. Yeah, Cameron says Indians see cows as Hindus, not all Indians, but Hindus especially.
Oh, the last person in India to butcher a cow got butchered by the crowd.
Yeah, swift justice in India, right?
Yeah. You know, it's.
I saw a thing. I saw like like you see these documentaries and they're very short and sweet and they're concise and they get everything. They don't fill it out like to an hour. And they were talking about how filthy the Ganges is, like the how your dysentery, cholera, typhoid. Because I can't remember it was like 120,000 liters of raw sewage go into it every day.
Oh, what about what about the dead bodies on it?
Oh yeah, but that's what they do. Ganges is sacred, isn't it? They go in there, they wash in it, and they talked about this Japanese tourist who went in it, splashed her face in it, and she ended up in hospital with cholera.
Yeah, because those people that do that have an immunity that's gathered for that from living in that area. But like, see if every day you're putting hundreds of bodies on the wooden things and floating them down the Ganges and setting them on fire, and the bodies are just fucking settling at the bottom. That's not going to give you a very healthy river.
But yeah, and also 42, we're closing down our farms because of cows are farting. But yeah, dump your doo-doo in the Ganges. That's all right. Yeah, that's going to help net zero, isn't it, by 2030?
Look, none of this is possible as long as India and China are around. You know,
Not gonna happen.
all of this net zero, carbon neutral, all of these
Right.
buzzwords. You are the
Okay.
carbon they want to get rid of.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
If they manage to reduce the levels of carbon dioxide, right, let's take a very small amount, 1%. If they manage to reduce carbon dioxide in the atmosphere by 1%, what will happen?
I don't think anything will happen.
Oh, everybody die.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, okay. So
Right.
they demonized carbon dioxide,
Right,
right?
okay.
That's what they're doing. They're making us think that carbon dioxide is going to kill us, when
Yeah.
actually it supports us. And,
Yes.
it's why we're here.
All life form on Earth is carbon based.
Carbon-based life forms. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So the plants inhale carbon dioxide, all that sort of stuff. We're carbon, right? So if we don't have carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, everything stops growing. Now, the current level of carbon dioxide is 0.03%.
Yeah. Minimal.
Right. Yeah. So if we reduce that by 0.3%, everything stops growing. Like, have they ever thought this through?
And 42, right? They know this through doing extensive research with ice cores and dendrochronology, and they've seen eras of the Earth where the carbon dioxide is really high and really low, and they can tell that mass extinction events happen.
Well, industrial greenhouses pump carbon dioxide into their greenhouses.
Yeah,
to make
for the
things grow.
plants to grow.
Right. So if we've got too much carbon dioxide, why the fuck do they not just use the outside air?
Well, listen, right, we're dancing around the obvious here. It's all a fucking scam and a flag, and it's going to end up. You'll end up going to be like, you know, people have foreseen it. You're going to have carbon credits, or you're not going to. If you haven't got enough, you won't be able to go to Magaluf for a week on a plane. You know, you're gonna. They don't. This plane. Someone said about the plane thing earlier. Maybe this is to get us to like, well, you know, if I can't drive there, I'm not going. You know what I mean? It's they don't want us in the air. They don't want us in the road.
It's control.
Yeah,
it is. It's
Pure
all
control.
control. It's like the 15, 20-minute cities. Do as you're told. Don't argue with the government. You know, don't protest, which is why I mentioned earlier, wasn't it? You know, you're not going to be allowed to do this anymore.
These middle class half-wits that do these protests, they have no idea about the scientific background in what they're talking about. They've just been pumped with pure their heads are full of cow shit.
Yeah, from
They don't
school
know what they're talking about.
From school to university, you're absolutely right, Jack.
Indoctrinated.
Yeah.
You know.
And then they go on to become high court judges.
And it's easy to get into kids' brains. They're soft, they're malleable, you know, they're open to suggestion.
If you take these people at their word and they think that carbon dioxide's bad and they have a summit about reducing carbon dioxide every year.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Is it the COP?
COP, COP, whatever, right? Why
and
do
they all fly in on private jets?
Why do they all feel the need to fly to one location?
Because you know what? They could easily do it on Zoom nowadays, just like we're doing.
They've proved that during COVID that you can do all of that indirectly, but yet with all they still feel the need to do that. Now, part of the reason why they do that is, say you're the foreign minister of Great Britain, and say you're the foreign minister of Poland, and you both want to have a meeting, but
Zero.
Yeah, but if you both want to have a meeting and you don't want any information about that meeting to be leaked out or to be made anything of, you have that meeting of COP where you're both there anyway. So it covers up for a lot of the nefarious deals that are being done at the like of Davos, at the like of COP, where the people who are run the country make secret deals with each other without involving the electorate.
You know,
That's you know the you may have seen. I don't know if it. I don't know if it was shown or you might remember the size of the IRA families, IRA funerals during the 70s and 80s. These really big, right? The reason why those funerals were made so large was you had a bunch of IRA people from across Northern Ireland that needed to have a meeting. So they brought loads of people to these meetings. And then the reason why person A, B, C, D, E, F, and G are all in the same place at the same time.
so they can sit in a pub at the wake and play.
Right. Well, they sit in the family's house around the coffin and make their plans because the security forces can't get at that, and it gives them a reason to be there. Whenever they're asked, why were you at X place? Well, I was at Y person's funeral. And you can't really argue with that. But I believe that they're doing the same thing with COP, with Davos, with the other things that they go on a lot of the United Nations stuff, where they have these events and the important stuff's isn't what's on the main agenda. It's all the nefarious meetings that's happening inside rooms.
Yeah, 42. You know, I have to say at this juncture, I always used to love the Catholic wake thing. You know, where you have
that's not a Catholic thing.
Well, the one where you have the body in an open coffin.
Yeah,
and you go in and pay your respects.
That's not a Catholic thing. That's an Irish thing, or an Ulster Scots thing.
What do you mean by an Irish thing?
It's right. We have those funerals in my family, and we are not Catholics.
Right. Okay, so it's a Protestant and Catholic thing.
Yeah, it's an Irish thing or an Ulster Scots thing or whatever.
So, while I'm driving around doing my deliveries, I'll often see a sign that says "wake" pointing to the house, and then you see a load of cars outside, and that's every day. I see that in different places.
Because I never found that in England. I never found that happening in England.
No.
Yeah, but
no. But listen, my dad died March the 24th and didn't get cremated till April the 17th. It's 3 days here.
Yeah. 4 days would be a long one.
You
know, my dad was on ice for that long. It's
yeah, but there's no way in England anymore. If your parents or friends die, you can go to the wake and pay your respects with the open coffin. It doesn't even happen with the royal family.
Well,
no.
It would be more common for there to be an open coffin here than not. The only time it's not an open coffin is for medical reasons. There's some conditions, some things that mean that you can't have an open coffin, but generally speaking, it's open. What would happen is the coffin's brought back to the person's house, and their friends or family come. They're all in one room. The coffin will typically be in the person's bedroom, and somebody will say, "Do you want to go up and see him, her?" And up you go and go in, say whatever you need to say, and come out again.
Well, I know. Yeah, 42. I mean, a bit of a strange topic, but I'm very glad to hear that it still does happen.
Oh yeah,
it's a huge thing here, Rory. Huge. Listen, about 3 months ago, I did an installation for a young man, and he was an undertaker. It's his family business. Just out of interest, I said to him, "Listen, have you noticed anything different in your industry in the last couple of years?" And without me prompting him, he said, "Yeah, a lot of young people are dying." They're
COVID.
you know, 30s, 40s.
Right.
They're just dying.
Yeah.
We know that there's a huge amount of excess deaths, and no one's talking about it. But when COVID was going, you had the little numbers going up every day. Fear, 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 fear. Nothing about the excess deaths after.
Our pie's never seen an open coffin.
I haven't either. When my dad passed, he passed in a hospice. It had only just got there from the ambulance. He literally was being put from this chair to the bed when he passed. And it was lucky that he did, because if he'd have passed in a hospital, my dad had cancer, but because they didn't have room for him, they stuck him in a gastrointestinal recovery ward. So everyone was bile and all that. So my dad's last week was a bit hectic, right? So he literally got into the hospice and he died as he was being moved from his chair into the bed. So, but it was lucky because we got to spend time with him, and then they put him in the chapel of rest, and we got to say goodbye. But in the hospital, he would have just been put straight down in the morgue, and that was it. We wouldn't have been able to say goodbye.
I'm going to say I'm not sure what age I was whenever I seen my first person in coffin, but it was before the age of 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what we've always did.
Death is really revered here. It's a big thing.
Yeah,
well, as it should be, you know, because it's paying your respect, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
For those who have passed away.
And there are beautiful, beautiful graveyards around this country. There's one in Omise that looks over the sea. All the graves are pointing out. What a place to spend eternity.
And I see all these ads on television. I don't watch television that much, but you know, when I do, it's all cremation, cheap cremation or something, whatever they're called. You know, it's like, we'll take care of you.
Cheap and cheerful. Pay up front for your funeral.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and the advertising, it goes, I don't want to worry my family about the expense. You know, they'll take care of my body and they'll send you back my ashes, and that'll be it. And you have a party. You know, and it's like, it annoys me so much.
Do you remember the expose of the co-op funeral services, where they had just literally had warehouses full of bodies and there was no respect paid to them? They were just being slung about, coffins were being dropped, you know?
Yes, absolutely. That's what
it's
happens.
cheap and cheerful, like supermarket funerals, isn't it? There's no aspect of any religion. It's just goodbye. Here's your ashes.
Yeah, none whatsoever. Yeah, it's like your dog. You know, take your dog to the vet. Here are the ashes. That's it. Same thing.
Yeah. That's not good. Well, the other interesting thing is what's going to happen whenever we begin to run out of graveyards.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to become quite the concern sooner or later.
Well, with the increasing population and immigration, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear today about the pensions? They reckon people in 2050 will not be able to retire until they're 71.
Why not?
Oh, I can believe that, Jack.
Oh.
I can absolutely believe that. They're putting it up the years.
The decline in birth rate means there will not be people in work to be paying taxes to pay pensions. That's and then they go, you know, come in.
So therefore, Jack, you have to ask your question: why are we bringing all these immigrants if they're not paying the taxes that they're going to pay for our pensions or older people's pensions? Which is because obviously, you know, you pay your national insurance, but you're not paying it for yourself. You're paying it for the pensioners. So, if the government's saying that, the government is basically saying all these immigrants they're not going to pay anything into the economy.
Well, isn't there a threshold like to be like to make a difference to the system? You have to be at least earning £38,000 a year. If you're under that, you're not contributing.
I think something like that. After, I mean, what's the tax rate is what 12,500, isn't it, in this country before you pay tax?
Yeah,
but you then have to take in the national insurance. So yeah, it's probably about 38,000, something like that, in order to pay a decent amount of tax for obviously the government. But then where does that money go? It's all wasted. So it doesn't go in.
I know we're sort of going over all the map here, right? But have you seen what's happening in New York? They've announced that they're going to give 53 million in credit to illegal immigrants, and people in New York who are homeless, who are American citizens, are going, "What the fuck's happening here?" It's insane. It's happening in Germany as well, and it's coming here.
Well, Jack, it's happening all over the world, and at least we are talking about it. People are talking about this all over the world, and I think that is good.
You have to understand.
We need to stand up and fight.
Right, you have to understand that anybody who is homeless in New York is thick as shit. Right, and I'll tell you why. America's a pretty big country. If you live in United Kingdom, Great Britain, Northern Ireland, whatever, if you move to a different part of the country, you're going to have basically the same weather. I understand there's parts down the south that are generally a bit warmer than Northern Ireland and don't have liquid sunshine, but the weather's basically shite. Now, if you're American and you're homeless, could you not call together the amount of money to go to California and be homeless where it never fucking rains instead of New York where you get fucking froze by the snow? Or is that too sensible?
42. My daughter lives in New York.
Yeah.
And literally, she's been talking to her bosses. You cannot. She's renting an apartment. You cannot live in New York for under $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah. But do you know what you can do? You can move to California where it's warm all the time. And also you can move to places where it's warm all the time. And
but California is
right. California
would have language. California is a piece of shit.
Not if you want a lot of free shit.
No. Excuse me. If you're an immigrant, yeah, absolutely fine. Yeah. But sorry, if you're an American citizen, no, it's going to cost you more, or maybe the same.
I mean, look.
No, it's not. If you're engaged in the benefit system, Section 8 housing, WIC funding, all that sort of stuff, California is actually quite good.
Well, what are they talking about? Wasn't California? Weren't they talking about like $50,000 to every black person in California in reparations not so long ago?
Yeah, they're talking about it. They're talking about it, but they've never done it. See, whenever they say that, those reparations don't go to people; they go to groups of people,
activist groups, and those.
Yeah, activist groups and stuff. That's who gets that money, or colleges, or whatever. None of that money. While they do talk in terms of money like that, they're never talking about actually handing the money to individual black people. And to be totally honest with you, there's not one of them's picked any cotton and are not up for it. Should not be.
Yeah, but it just goes to show how people think.
Oh,
in the Senate of California,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're
nuts. They're crazy.
They are absolutely fucking wacky. Uh, the American political system and the American legal system is full of people that are best described as batshit crazy.
Well, which leads me on to the next question, 42.
Right?
What do you think about Trump's chances?
Of winning the election.
Yeah.
It depends how much they manage to cheat.
I mean, he seems to be doing quite well so far in various states.
If Trump gets a fair election, he will win. I think it depends how many of the places where postal votes allowed for days after the election, whether that gets changed. And the other problem that America has is the size of the population in their cities compared to the population of the rural population, because the likes of where's Los Angeles? What state's LA in?
California.
California, right. California is mostly red, with an exception for Los Angeles and Reno. But the population of Los Angeles and Reno is larger than the population of all the rural areas, and they have, if their system was the same as ours, whereby you bring back an MP from each constituency, they would be Republican. But because they add all the votes together,
Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor of California, wasn't he? Some years ago. Yeah.
Yes.
Not a good one, but he was one.
I honestly don't know what his politics were like.
Well, I think he was a Republican, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was a Republican.
But he was kind of a lefty Republican.
Yeah, he could have been Rhino. I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't whenever he was doing that, I wasn't as politically engaged as I am now.
Anyway, 42. It's getting a little bit late. I had some questions from Jack, actually.
Yeah, go for it.
As he lived in London. Jack, whereabouts do you live in London?
Right, so I didn't actually live in London. I was born in London, but about 18 months, 19 months, my family moved to Basingstoke, which was my mum's hometown.
Right.
And I was raised there. That was my hometown, Basingstoke, which is 30 minutes north of Southampton, 45 minutes southwest of London. Yeah. So it's perfectly placed. A lot of people live there.
Yeah, there's some very wonderful people come from Basingstoke.
Jack,
what's that, buddy?
Did you ever go back to see your parents?
Oh, I got family in London.
London relatives.
Today I got, so my home, it was Charlton that I lived, which is Southeast 7, off the Shooters Hill Road. My auntie still lives there, but unfortunately, I got some news today that she's 97. Wow. She's the last of the brood, but my dad's brothers and sisters, everyone's gone apart from her. So she's the last of that lineage. But she's in hospital at the moment. Her cognitive abilities have declined very rapidly.
I'm sorry to hear that.
She's doing things like throwing her dinner out in the garden and getting very aggressive. Right. And yeah, so like the doctor said, it's not a time to call the family in. It's not that point, but you know, I know it's coming because no one gets out of this life alive.
Would you describe that?
Yeah, so I'll be going back to London, obviously, for that. My sister still lives in Eltham.
Right. The only reason I mention this, Jack, I lived in Wapping in the East End during the 1980s. And my God, did I see that place change.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Oh.
Literally, from Tower Bridge, you could look over Wapping, and it would look like a bomb site from World War II. In fact, they hadn't really changed it. All the old wharves were just as they were, unoccupied. You know, the wharves on the river, and then suddenly, boom, the economy went up, and it changed. It was unbelievable. In the 7 years I was there, it changed from people cycling to work on bicycles to Porsches, redevelopment.
Wearing a shirt and tie.
Yeah, no, absolutely, no, it was unbelievable. There was and then of course they did
Yeah, I've got
the whole Isle of Dogs thing, you know, and
yeah. Well, let me tell you about that, right?
Yeah.
So my dad was born in 1942. Okay, and he was born and they lived on the Isle of Dogs, right? His family had a couple of shops on the Isle of Dogs, dressmakers, cobblers and that, right? The family were all put into that, right? One night, Luftwaffe destroyed all that. They absolutely razed the Isle of Dogs because it was docklands. So they were moved to emergency housing in Blackheath, overlooking the common. And at that time, all you could see was canvas army tents because it was a demobilizing place. And then eventually they got the house in Charlton on Granada Road, and like my auntie's, that's still her house. Yeah, it's strange how history can define where you end up. You know, major events in history like the Luftwaffe. Firebombing, using the incendiaries, and just razing London. And we did. Don't get me wrong, we did the same. We did war crimes in Dresden, places like that. You know, I'm not.
But Joe, Jack, I remember
my uncle found an incendiary bomb during the Blitz.
Yeah, it was still a bomb site 40 years after World War II ended. There's still a bloody bomb site.
I used to walk around London. Used to walk around Greenwich with my dad, and he'd go, like there'd be a row of houses, then there'd be two missing. And you'd see the General Wolfe in Greenwich Park. There's a statue of General Wolfe overlooking. Have you seen it? Overlooking the Thames. If you look at the back of the concrete plinth of that, there's great big bullet holes where the Luftwaffe used to come down the Grove, which was a nice straight thing, and take top shots at the statue. And to this day, you can go in there and put your fist in a German bullet hole. It's still there. There's a tour. There's a tour you can do in London where they still show you like shrapnel and things that are buildings that are still there, but they've taken bomb damage in the past. You know.
Oh, well,
interesting.
Here's another one. Here's another quick one, Jack. And 42. Sorry to carry on, but what was the pub in Whitechapel where the Cray brothers, one of the Cray brothers shot?
Oh, the Blind Beggar.
The Blind Beggar. That's the one. And when I was there, they still had the bullet holes in the wall. I don't know whether they do today, but it was like, you've got to see this. Yeah, it was opposite the hospital.
Yeah,
that was quite fun.
Right.
Go on, 42, mate.
Right, it's coming up to 1:45. I've been going for 2.25 hours. I'm going to.
I've really enjoyed it.
Yes, thank you very much for coming on. Do either of you two have any last things that you need to get off your chest?
I'm just going to do a plug for tomorrow's show. 7 p.m. Rags and Jack stream. We've got a brand new guest on who's never been on. So he's coming to talk about medical things and how the NHS has failed her and that. So it should be an interesting chat. We still make it lighthearted as we do. So 7 p.m. tomorrow, Rags and Jack stream, House of Babushka. So thank you very much. Thanks for hosting and having me, 42. I've really enjoyed this chat. And Rory, it's lovely to chat to you for the first time, mate. And
you too, Jack.
Very welcome, Jack.
Thank you.
And House of Babushka is a lovely lady. You'll have a good chat with her. And she has been right royally fucked over by our supposed service providers. So that'll be interesting. And thanks very much for coming on, Rory.
Thank you.
Yep. 42, once again, thanks for having me on. I said I just came on to bring up that article, but for some reason, we get enrolled in 2 hours of conversation.
Yes.
So we do. But yeah, very looking forward to Rags and Jack stream tomorrow. That's going to be good. All the best to you, 42, and obviously to the lovely Emma G.
Thank you very much. And again, always a pleasure to have you on. And yeah, well, we have no business being surprised that wanting to come on for 2 minutes turns into 2 hours, because we always do have a good conversation. Now, with that said and done, I'm going to pull up the outro and I'll stick all your comments up on the screen.
This is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance. You will own nothing, and you will be happy. And you will eat the bugs.
Oh shit, man. Eat the bugs? You got me wrong. You got me so wrong. You ever seen a cave drawing of somebody with a spear hunting a mosquito? Well, me either. We eat meat and we have choices. You think the hedgehog right? It tastes like chicken. Fucking chicken. I ain't eating your bugs. I ain't eating your bugs. I started off with nothing and I'm never going back. I'm not getting on your progressive track. With Agenda 2030, I refuse to engage. I can see where it is going and it's just another cage. I've got hedgehog, I've got rabbit, I've got wild hog. Fuck it, I can even move to Alaska and get me a nice caribou. Eating your bugs. You're trying to take away what I fought so hard to get, so I'm going to say no to your cattle car trade. Eat the bugs, live in some communal pod with no fucking privacy. Oh, nothing and be happy. I've seen the people with nothing and they don't look happy. Eat the bugs, live in some communal pod with no fucking privacy. Oh, nothing to be happy. I'm not eating your bugs. Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm not eating your bugs. Fuck it. I'm not eating your bugs. Fuck it. Fuck it. Oh shit, man, you got me wrong. You got me so fucking wrong. There are millions of us in the UK, billions worldwide, unvaccinated, striding out into our third winter of death with not a care in the world. Eating pig, eating cow, eating chicken, and we will not conform. Fuck it, I'm not eating your bugs. Hey, Klaus Wall, this is 42, and I want the word with you, motherfucker.
This is the fourth industrial revolution. We have a window of opportunity for the great reset. Technology is a critical weapon. History is truly at a turning point. We can shape a better world, and we will reglobalize to make it a better place. So will own nothing, and so will be happy, and so will eat the bugs.
You haven't got me talking. Why is United Nations in charge of Stonehenge? Keeping me away from the stones? That's not world heritage, that's British heritage. You're getting to a point where the people that just want to be left alone are going to get involved. Tell me again, why is United Nations running Stonehenge? Fuck it.
42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance.
Fuck it. Okay, everybody. Roy was Roy. Jack was Jack. I have been 42. If you want to see more of me, tomorrow night, 10:30. I believe it's going to be on the link that's below. I'm on with Courage is a Cure. It's going to be a good interview. And other than that, the other thing to say is you lot in the chat, as always, have been fucking amazing. Thank you. Good night. God bless. I'm out of here. Bye.